Hey there, fellow creators, Ben here from Cinder Studios, and as many of you know, I am an acrylic painter. But as also many of you may know, I work in tons of different media, not just acrylics. I diversify my experiences and work in all kinds of different things. But why does this diversity matter? Stick around. Using a variety of media, not just the one you choose to use on a regular basis, is a great way to both learn and build new skills. Cue a segment from an interview I did with my friend Albert like a decade ago.
Don't limit yourself. When you're, I love to paint, but I didn't just paint. And because I didn't just paint, made me a better painter. Because I didn't just sculpt, made me a better sculptor. Because I didn't just work in metals exclusively, I was better working with them because having those different experiences of what different materials can do gives you a realm of possibilities you won't consider if you stay in this traditional, rigid mindset that I'm going to be a draw major or I'm going to be just a paint major. Don't be afraid to experiment. If there's a material out there that you want to play with, play.
As a learning experience, using other media very much helps you inform how to make better art using the one media you choose to use on a more regular basis. This variety in media creates new opportunities for you to grow and build your skills by learning one way to do things and then going back to learning how to do things in your own media and then finding ways to adapt those techniques together. Using different types of art media is a fantastic way to just also keep yourself inspired to trying new things and keep jumping in and out of different projects. In using different media, you're also diversifying yourself and making yourself more valuable as an artist to clients. If you only do one media and you have a client that wants you to do a pencil version of something that you might normally do in paint, you can actually do that if you have learned your way through a lot of different types of art media. Plus, having the just flat out ability as well as the flexibility of being able to just grab whatever media works for whatever project you have in mind is a fantastic way to exist as a working artist. I think of it like this. You can just do one thing, or you can have the experience of doing a lot of things so when a new medium comes up, you can be better equipped to then use that new media. I love using the example of my late friend Jim. He was in his 60s when I gave him a digital drawing tablet for the first time, and within 15 minutes he made a simple contour line drawing, just because he's like, okay, I kind of see what this does. I'm just going to jump into another skill set that I know and apply this. And it worked for him. So I can just talk about why it's good all day, but I want to give you guys some concrete examples of how I use different media to inform my acrylic painting. First of these is my regular ink sketching. Using ink, specifically ink pens, to sketch with forces you to use a lighter touch and looser lines. Certain pens individually can be manipulated by that lighter touch or just a tilt of the angle to change the line weight or change the sort of the brokenness, the thinness. You can get a little bit more variety in your line work that way. I talked about this recently in doing my big sketch pen roundup review. When applied to acrylics, some of this had to do with bringing that looseness of a sketch into a painting style that I had been developing, through my college years. And I'm like, I need to loosen this up, make it more like my sketches. And that's when the liner brush came in for me. And while the liner brush is good for those thin lines, it's not good when you have to keep reapplying the paint. And a little further down the road, I found paint markers, which again allowed me to utilize the techniques I use in sketching, but applying that into my acrylic painting. The light touch and looseness of your hand that you learn using an ink pen can be easily translated, well, not necessarily easily translated, but translated in the sense that you're making a more expressive mark with your brush. Now, as sort of a seasoned acrylic painter, for a long time I didn't like oils, and it took me a while to figure out exactly how to use them properly. Oils, of course, are great for long-term, slow, relaxed blending, as well as thin glazes, with a bit of an emphasis on the glazes. In learning to glaze with oils, it actually made my use of glazing in acrylics easier, faster, and better, because I'm like, okay, I know how it works in oils, So now it's like when I go to do it in acrylics, it's like, okay, I have a better understanding of how I want this to look. Plus, learning to buy more transparent acrylic colors allows you to do more natural glazing without the use of a medium or gel. Chalk pastels are another one of those ones that has a lot of weird ways to translate the techniques and the ideas behind using them into acrylic painting, or any kind of painting really. Because mixing with hard and soft pastels, in terms of like mixing colors together, you know, it's more limited, and most of the time you're just kind of layering that color rather than blending it together. While it still blends a little bit, nowhere near to the extent of mixing paint, obviously. Because you're not mixing the colors and more just kind of layering them together, it really forces you to understand color theory and color selection. So it's like, what paint colors do I use? What chalk colors do I use? It really forces you to the point where it's like you have to be very, very, very selective with which colors you're using in order to achieve the look you're going for. So when you reapply that back to painting, it's like, okay, well, I'm not just going to buy every paint color imaginable. I'm going to get a very select few that allow me to do exactly what I want to do. And more specifically for convenience colors, like a mixed green, for example, you can say, okay, I want this particular shade of green or this particular shade of orange. So I know exactly which one of these translates from the pastel drawing into perhaps, let's say you're using a pastel drawing as a template for a painting. It's like, okay, I know what I'm doing with the pastel. I need this particular shade. I'm going to use it as a convenience color to buy this color. And it's just learning those color harmonies and color relationships and color theory behind everything in pastels, which are a little bit cheaper than acrylic paint in terms of buying the sticks, really kind of helps you move along forward and create more complex and interesting and unified color in your paintings. And the last medium I wanted to highlight as a good translation to painting is photography, digital or otherwise. Photography in and of itself is a masterclass medium in understanding composition. Taking a photo in any capacity, and likely digital photography, there's no waste in just going click, 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 click with your camera, because you don't, oh, well, now that's a bunch of canvases, or oh, that's a bunch of paint. You can really learn composition without necessarily the waste. And the more you get into photography, it's one of those things where it's like, it forces you to think about composition for every single still frame you take. And the best thing about learning composition and learning what makes a good and bad composition is you can translate that skill from setting up your shot in a photograph into literally any two-dimensional drawing or painting medium. So to wrap things up, using a variety of media, not just one thing in particular, is a fantastic catalyst to jumpstart your creativity and springboard your skills to the next level. I'm curious what you guys have to say about this one. If you're a creator yourself, what other media have you used in your life that has very much informed how you work with your choice media? However you create though, I hope that this video and this exploration of different uses in media and how that's informed my particular painting has inspired you to maybe try some different things for yourself. As always, if you enjoyed this or learned something, go ahead and hit the like button. Let me know your thoughts and comments below. Get subscribed if you're not already. And this is Ben from Cinder Studios reminding you to keep on creating, stay inspired, and I will see you guys next time.